Nokia used that advert for years and years onwards. So I don't have one home. I love the sea. I love the sun. At the moment, I'm single. I love networking, part of my job, and move on and learn from your mistakes. I can be quite gregarious. I wouldn't use the word impossible. I would more use the word realistic. I met a lot of interesting people in my life. Oh, romance, romance. I think everyone should have the right. My mother is a very strong woman. My grandfather was petrified of her.
Hello everybody, me Irene Lentiggini and Chile Live channel, we are greeting you, and today we have another fantastic guest who's an author and fantastic PR specialist and luxury travel. So today our guest is a great man, Thierry Macquet. Hello!
Hello, Irene. Nice to meet you, even if we are different sides of the world.
You know, it's already common situation for me. I feel like I'm really connected to all over the world, like Nokia. You remember that it was?
Yeah, true. Yeah. God, that's old. That makes me very old, reminding me of all those times, you know. Nokia used that advert for years and years onwards.
Thierry, you're originally from Mauritius and you have very special family name, Macquet. What does it mean and where does it come from?
Yeah, Macquet actually, it's the French way of spelling Macquet. The family comes from the western coast of France. Originally, my family comes from La Rochelle. And it was a very old family from that area. And I have an ancestor who last century decided to be adventurous. And he moved to the colonies. And that's how the family name moved to Mauritius.
Thank you so much, Thierry. I would love to remind you kindly that today we have a special interview, we have a special talk. I prefer to call it like this because it's astrology-based interview that I create especially for you on the base of your individual horoscope. And first of all, I hope that this talk that will be resourceful and interesting for you as being guest of my show, Stars About Stars.
I'm sure it will. I don't have any doubt.
Thank you so much. I would remind that astrology is just a birth potential that we can use or not, realize or not. So it's never something that's going to anyway happen. But we will study and we will see. We will check together.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
So Thierry, you were born 24th of September 1973. Is it correct?
It's correct, yeah.
Great. Your birth number is 2, which says about your ability to take care of the other people and connection with your home. Do you ever lose connection with your real house, with your feeling home, traveling so much?
Not really, to be honest, no. The only thing is that I'm a bit of a nomad, so I don't have one home. I've got 3 homes technically. I mean, but I would,
good start.
because I've got a main place in central London, but I also have a beach house in Mauritius, and I've got a small place in Mallorca as well. I must say that especially London and Mauritius for me, as I'm attached to one, as I'm attached to the other. So in both places, I feel very much at home, but I'm very attached to those 2 places. It's true.
And what is your place of strength?
The place where I feel more strong.
Actually, yes. What like better recharge you? Your place of power.
My place of power. I'm someone. I love the sea. I love the sun. So those are the 2 places where I really recharge my batteries. Of course, Mauritius is one of the 2 of the places in the world where I really feel that I can recharge my batteries when I'm on the island, because I was born there. I've got all my childhood memories there, and there's the sea and there's the sun. I mean, for me, that's very important.
Your birth month corresponds to a solitary, and your life position is a very active one, as I know. How do you combine?
Well, it's a bit true in a certain way, because at the moment I'm single, but I've never had any children in my life, so I can be a bit solitary in many ways. But it's true that I'm a social beast. I love friends, I love social events, I love mixing with different people, but I also like coming back home sometimes and having my me time. So I think I'm a mix of both, but there's part of me which loves to be on my own from time to time.
The year of birth speaks about the energy of constant movement. What is your most spontaneous and unforgettable trip?
I've got a lot of unforgettable trips because I've had the chance to travel a lot in my life.
You're an expert in this.
Yes, I've got a company. One of my companies that I've got with a business partner, we do bespoke high-end travel. So, but I'm also a travel writer as well. So that gave me the chance to travel a lot. I mean, I've had so many, but spontaneous. I mean, I do so many spontaneous trips as well. Sometimes I wake up on a Friday morning and I just hop to a European city just for the weekend. So I think I've got more than one. I mean, yeah, I'm a big lover of India. I mean, I've had fabulous trips to India. I love the heart of Africa. I mean, going to, I don't know, Botswana, Tanzania, Kenya. I feel very close to the African continent as well. But in Europe, I love going to Greece as well. So I've got quite a mix of places, I would say.
But if you had to choose just one city or place to recommend to everybody to go?
A city, I love Florence.
Florence.
There's something about Florence. I don't know. There's something about when I'm in Florence, but I've always been to Florence when the weather was nice as well. So maybe that has had an impact on my views of Florence.
Your karmic task is to work the qualities of the Capricorn. What do you consider to be your work and what do you feel to be your mission?
Well, my work, I mean, I love networking. Part of my job is to network with a lot of people and putting people together, striking deals. And the aim of doing all of that is to reach a positive, beneficial relationship between different people. I think that I'm quite happy to say that I'm a, I would say, fixer in many ways.
And what is your mission in life? How do you feel?
Well, my mission is in life. It's quite simple. I always say, be happy. Don't cry over spilled milk because the past is the past. I mean, you've got to close the door and move on and learn from your mistakes.
Nice. That's easy to say, but not really easy to realize. How do the careerist and the ability to be responsible for your family that we discussed get along inside you? Which part is bigger? How you feel?
I think I'm quite good at mixing both because I work hard. I mean, especially, well, now since the COVID crisis, of course, all of us, we've been a bit more homebound and the workload has been diminishing. But before, I'm the kind of person I work a lot, but when you've got to stop, I know where to stop. And if there's a crisis in the family or if someone needs me, I know to say fine. I mean, I need to be there and I've got my priorities, yeah.
The strong Pluto in your horoscope points at your strong will and huge energetic potential. Can you suppress other people in a spiritual or mental way?
I suspect yes, in a way, because a lot of people always tell me when I get into a room, I'm not the kind of person that people are not going to see or notice. I mean, I can be quite gregarious. I can be quite overpowering sometimes. And I know that sometimes I've got to control myself with some people because it's not good to put people in your shadow. So I'm very well aware of that. That's my personality. That's the way I am. But I can control it as well because sometimes you can't always have, some people are like me and others are not. You've got to strike a balance between the two.
Your Saturn energy causes restrictions for self-expression sometimes. What task do you consider to be unrealized?
In terms of
Impossible.
impossible? No, I wouldn't use the word impossibles. I would more use the word realistic and unrealistic. I mean, I'm quite a bold person. I always love trying new things, but I know where I'm good and when I'm not good. And I prefer to spend time exploring new things where I know that I will have at least part of the skills than going into things that to be honest, I know exactly that it's not my personality, it's not my skills. What's the point of losing time? So I wouldn't call it impossible. I would call it unrealistic.
Your Mercury gives you the top communication abilities. You are of and among blue blood. What is the most unforgettable to encounter?
I'm trying to suss it out now. I mean, I met a lot of interesting people in my life, but I would say that a lot of those interesting people that strike me the most, were not celebrities or people that I mean, they were more, let's say, when I was visiting a few centers for the orphans in India, I was very impressed by some of the people that were managing those centers, for instance. I mean, those people strike me much more than when I met royalty or celebrities in events, and I meet a lot of them all over Europe. I mean, I don't have the celebrity culture kind of cult in me. So a lot of people that have been striking to me are most of the time normal people that you see in everyday life.
Venus is in opposition to Mars and can cause emotional relationships with the opposite gender. Your most romantic gesture.
Oh, romance, romance, such a big word. I think the most romantic gesture often is to be there when the person you love really needs you. For me, buying flowers for Valentine's, it's lovely, but it's quite a cliche. I mean, romance, it's to be there, let's say, when you know that someone has lost a person and it's been the first year anniversary and the person doesn't speak about it. You just invite her for dinner or for just to show that, okay, you've remembered, even if you don't speak about it openly, because on that day, you know that the person must have been a bit upset. For me, that's more romance. I mean, of course, you've got other kinds of romance as well, but it's to be there when the person really needs that kind of emotional support.
The moon is in Virgo and it gives to you consistency and ability to put things in puzzle in order. Your mother could work either or with finances or maybe in medical sphere or service sector. Is it true? And what do you think? Woman should work at all or she wouldn't?
I think, again, it's a very personal matter, both for men or for women. I'm all for ladies working, to be honest, because, I mean, they can bring so much to society, like men or like people that are physically impaired. I think everyone should have the right and the choice also to work. But I also respect a lady who decides to stop a career and because she wants to spend time with her kids. I see my sister-in-law, for instance, I mean, because my brother is in the hotel industry, so he travels a lot. She's decided to stop working since years because she wanted to devote time to the kids. And the kids are so well brought up and are so loved. I mean, so there's no right or wrong. I think the person, the lady, needs to follow her gut feeling and know exactly what would be best for her.
And what about your mother? What is your vision of woman?
He's a bit like me, you know, us island people, especially when we were brought up in, you know, on tropical islands. It's never been an issue. Women and men have always been considered to be equal, and we come from a family of very strong women as well. My mother is a very strong woman. I remember my maternal grandmother being an extremely strong woman. I mean, for her time, I mean, God, my grandfather was petrified of her. So we were never brought up by women or surrounded by women that were, I would say, considered to be, you know, weak, or we've always had in our family women that were very, very strong. So for us, equality has always been there. It's not even something we question. I stay at home for 2 days watching Netflix. I write and read a lot. That was a big jump. When you've got blood on the streets, that's when you need to invest. I've changed so many times. You're exactly right on the year. I love good food. I love good wine. She's called Lady Colin Campbell. A very interesting person. You give me my freedom.
2003 and 2004, a sudden destruction of your daily routine, maybe some women's emotions, or even electric appliance failure, impulsive expenses. Which emotion can make you very sensitive. And what happened by that age, by that era?
By that era, it's true that I went through a bit of a hard patch in 2004, 2005. It's the time where you see your 40s approaching, your 30s, 40s. I mean, all my friends were settling down. I hadn't settled down yet. You felt, okay, fine. Should I get into the mold and do exactly what everyone else does or not? Yeah, maybe. At that time, I was a little bit, small ups and downs. I wouldn't say anything dramatical, but yeah. What would upset me the most, I think, it's when close friends or family members are really distressed. That's where I get really upset. I can take distress for myself very, very easily. I'm quite a hard person on myself, so I'm not the kind of person to throw in the towel. But if I see members of my family or very close friends being really distressed, that can affect me much more.
2005, 2006, a lot of responsible work, double efforts, and maybe even a physical exhaustion because of work overload. Are you workaholic, and how do you prefer, or how you can recuperate?
It all depends. Sometimes I just stop and I stay at home for 2 days watching Netflix and enjoying a glass of wine. That's enough. Sometimes I'll just take a weekend off and go to the countryside at friend's place because I just need to walk with nature, go horse riding, or just be surrounded by trees. Sometimes I need to see friends, so I'll go for a weekend visiting friends in the south of France. It all depends on the level of stress and what you feel like. I suppose winter and summer also will affect my choice. But no, I find very, very different ways of eliminating the stress. And I know, especially with age, I've reached a point where I know exactly when I need to stop now more than before. So let's say that the workaholic person is still a little bit there, but in a much more mellow way. Not as bad as it was before.
But what is your hobby? You do horse riding, what else?
I used to horse ride quite a bit. I don't do it as much now because I had a back issue. I do a lot of running. I love swimming. I'm a very keen reader. I write and read a lot. I love history. I love visiting historical places as well. I love hiking in nature. I think that it's a way for me to get much closer to the real world. I've got very, very different hobbies, depending again on my mood, on the time of the year, on where I am. It's, of course, let's say when I'm in central London, it's quite difficult for me to just dash to the beach and have a swim. Then I will go more to do something which is next to, yeah, in the Thames. I don't think so. I'm going to end up with all kinds of bacteria and bronchitis as well.
You know that 2009, 2010, you have professional ambitious growth. And actually, as I remember, 2010, you published your book. Does it correspond?
No. I published my book last year. But in 2009 to 2010, I launched my first company.
Oh, wow. So it's true.
2009, actually, because when 2008 happened, I was the director of sales of marketing of a big chain of hotels with offices all over Europe, and they decided to change the structure completely. So there was a big redundancy package. I was part of it. And that's when I decided to start my own business development, marketing, and PR agency. So that was a big jump. Because everyone told me you are mad. The world is going through a recession and you are becoming an entrepreneur. And I always remember a sentence by one of the Rothschilds who always said, when you've got blood on the streets, that's when you need to invest. And I said, okay, I'll go for it. And that's how I started one of my companies that's still working quite well now. Well, the COVID crisis has been a bit of a problem, but I'm sure that once things settle down, the company will go back to where it was.
As well, 2011, discipline increases and very important context come to your life. What was by that time?
2011, I suppose, after 2 years, my company started growing and I started having employees. So that's where you take a bit more responsibility as well. And then, I suppose that's the year after, because I opened the company in 2009, and in 2011, that's where really it started doing extremely well and booming. So I suppose that's where the change really happened. Yeah.
2011 and 12, defending freedom for yourself, maybe some kind of experiments with new lifestyle. What was the most special visual explosion for you? Did it change your hair, your, I don't know, outfit?
I've changed so many times. I mean, that's the problem.
Did you?
Yeah, I've had long hair, I've had very short hair, and yeah. I wouldn't know, to be honest, because I'm the kind of person I'm quite nosy. I always try new things every time, you know. So every 2 years, you may see me with a different style of dressing up. Maybe now not as much because, you know, I'm turning 48 and I'm a bit more classic in my approach. But I used to be a bit more, I would say, adventurous. And also through my being in the lifestyle industry, I used to deal a lot with couture people, fashion people. So a lot of those people I was a bit their guinea pigs, you know, they were offering me things that I wouldn't even think of buying before.
2013, period of emotional restraint and maybe renewal of old contexts. Do you let people come into your life again? And if yes, why?
I do. Yeah, I do, because sometimes you just lose touch with people for no reason at all. I mean, sometimes, you know, it's life experiences, you just move on. And sometimes, you know, something may have happened with someone, but, you know, after a few years, you've got to close the door and let bygones be bygones. You can't always keep grudges with people. So, yes, I'm quite open to have people back in my life. I mean, yeah, no, I'm not close to anything. I think I've got very, very few people that I wouldn't let back into my life. I mean, I wouldn't think of many, to be honest, no. Mm.
And 2015-16, destruction of the set connections. Do you say goodbye to your past easily?
Yes, I do now. Yeah, I do. In 2015, 2016, 2015, I had a big burnout. I mean, for about 2 or 3 months, I couldn't really work. I mean, it was very much stress related. I started having physical ailments, but it was more due to stress. And it's been a big learning curve because I saw a psychotherapist at the time, and I learned during that year. Funny enough, you're exactly right on the year. I learned to just let things go and learn to move on from things.
Your Jupiter states that your mother devoted herself to home and family. And I would love to ask you, what is your ideal woman, if not in your surrounding, maybe through books, because you're a book reader and book writer?
Yeah. Well, first of all, my mother was always worked. She always loved working, by the way. So she was never, but she took good care of us as well. So I wouldn't say she was a workaholic, but she never wanted to stay at home. She was always a woman that wanted to do something. My ideal woman is a woman that brings me back to on planet Earth when I start dreaming a little bit too much. Respect towards one another, but at the same time, someone that can challenge me intellectually. So I can't see myself with someone who's just going to say yes, yes, yes to everything I say. It needs to be someone who, and also someone with whom,
it should be
with personality, and we need to enjoy a few things in common as well, of course. I mean, I'm quite gregarious, I'm quite an Epicurean. I love good food, I love good wine, I love society in general, I love going out, I love the arts and culture. I don't think I'll ever end up with someone who's, you know, who's just going to sit at home and have no interest at all. So there needs to be at least something in common as well.
The age of 4, your Saturn provokes some kind of limitation for self-expression. There could be maybe traumas or something, childhood, but was your father maybe strict, and what is your hero in man's visual position?
Well, my father was, I've got a lot for my father. And I mean, funny enough, he's quite a strong personality as well. He was strict, of course, yeah, he was strict. He came from a family, we come from a very conservative background. So, you know, with a lot of traditions and a lot of, you do things in a certain way and not in another way. And I would say that over the years, when I was younger, maybe we had a few clashes because I also had quite a strong personality. But now things have evolved and we go on extremely well, even if we agree to disagree on a few things. But I mean, I think that he's the ideal person as well, because maybe I've got so much for him that I would consider him to be the ideal person. Yeah, he's very down to earth, very grounded. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks or what he feels. And I think nowadays, I mean, those are qualities more than anything else.
9 years old. Can you believe Mercury gives you very picky communications? If you about to choose one person on the planet with whom you go for intellectual talk, that is very important with you, or let's say intellectual talk on the island, with whom you would go?
On this island here,
maybe different islands, maybe
no
island
different island, yeah.
with
Oh God.
no people.
Quite a few.
Just one person, just one.
It depends on the topic. That's the problem, because I've got intellectual conversations with different people on different topics. Some people are more for certain topics and others for different topics. So
you have to choose just one person to talk about.
I love discussing. I've got a friend of mine in the UK. She's older than me, but I love discussing with her because she's extremely interesting. You must have heard about her. She's called Lady Colin Campbell. Lady Colin is a very well-known author. She writes books about the royal family and all of that. But I know the other side of Lady Colin Campbell, who's called Georgie. She's a very interesting person. She's very cultured. She's got an opinion on everything, which I love. I mean, yeah, she's the kind of person, not often Georgie and I, we can spend the whole evening just discussing about so many different things. I mean, she would be one of the people that I would think about, yeah.
20 years old, Neptune gives you new love. Does it correspond to truth? And what relationship in reality or cinema world are perfect for you?
In the cinema world.
Or cinema world or reality, you are free to choose whatever.
The perfect relationship at the moment would be a relationship where you give me my freedom and we see each other when it suits us. I'm in that kind of state of mind at the moment. That doesn't sound very romantic, I know, but I think that nowadays a lot of relationships where people have got their own space at certain times works much better. I fell in love every 3 weeks. It was fun as well. That's why I decided to move into the tourism industry. I moved to London at that time, pushed the company forward. I love spending on travel. It's horrible what I do. I'm happy when people are happy around me. You're the new Oprah Winfrey.
And what about love by the age of 20? Is it true? Was it first love?
No, first love was, maybe around 19. I'm still in touch with her. We're very good friends now. She lives in France, yeah.
Like, yes, like 19,
yeah,
20.
Yeah, around 19, I would say, yeah. So 20, make me a liar for 1 year.
Maybe I calculated wrong with astrology.
No, maybe the time difference. Maybe the time difference. That's why you got 1 year less.
You too. Okay, 21. Venus provokes strong emotional relationship with women again. How to deal with the crisis waves in relationship?
At 21, I don't remember going through any crisis with any woman at 21.
It's second question, but was it some kind of emotional relationship again, 21? By the way, I have a lot of waves, a lot of questions like, wow, emotions, a lot of questions about work, and a lot of questions about love. Real man.
21, I was a student then. God, I fell in love every 3 weeks. I mean, so it was quite difficult to remember.
The same age, approximately, you got effectiveness at work. What there were some new beginnings or some starts up by that age, maybe some new ideas, because it's early age. It's 21.
Yeah, at 21, I was finishing my degree and I was going into the postgraduate world. So maybe that's the kind of move, you know, where you decide, okay, fine, am I going to do this or that? I mean, you know, you go one step further. I suppose that's maybe what it
And
was all about.
what are your first money?
I started working at the age of 23, I think, or 24. Yeah. But as a student, I used to get a bit of money as well because I used to do waitering and bartendering and working in restaurants. So, no, I was getting my money before. Nothing much, but it was fun as well. Yeah.
But you know what is interesting? By the age of 23, Pluto provokes important events in your mother's life. Is this grandmother or grandfather from your mother's side?
No, my grandfather died before. It's from my mother's side. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, but he died. No, he died before. He died before that. He died. I was about 15. Yeah.
Yes, it's just some events probably connected with the women in your surrounding or in your mother's life. That's why I asked by the age of 23.
The only thing I remember is that I finished my studies at that during that year. So I mean, but I don't remember having any kind of crisis with any woman around me then.
For better.
Yeah.
Better without.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it was so good that I didn't even realize it. You know, you always remember bad things and you forget good things.
Completely right. 25. Mars gives you strong emotions. What is the most spontaneous step in your life?
That's why I decided to move into the tourism industry at the time.
20.
And
Nice.
yeah, I was 25 then, and I mean, because my first degree, I did a postgraduate degree in psychology, and then I decided to get into all kinds of things that I didn't like. And after a while, I said, okay, fine. I decided to move into tourism. I was 25 and into marketing, PR, tourism, hotels. So that was a big jump because I was going into a sector that I had never thought about before.
And by the age of 26, Jupiter gives you self-destruction or influence of outside factors. What is the most destructive force for you and what happened by that age?
Actually, 26, from a professional point of view, things were starting to work well. So it wasn't that bad. I mean, I went through rocky periods during the first year or two, but then 26 onwards, things started going quite well. So I don't know, maybe you just wake up to the realities of the working world at that age. So sometimes it's not as pretty.
It's true to come back to reality every day or something just to fly away, forget it. 28, Venus is full of trust and potential for romantic relationship again. You answered me, are you romantic or not? But I inquire what happened by 28 and maybe 30. Was it life-changing period for you?
I moved to London at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a big jump in my life because I mean I was offered the position and I moved to London in a matter of 3 weeks. So it wasn't something that was planned in advance. And it was a big life change. And of course you meet different people and you yeah, God, yeah, it was quite a hectic time, you know, where you just readjust. So privately, personally, professionally, I mean.
At the age of 33, the sun gives you wish to achieve a lot. How does a man conquer his ego on the way to success? What is your professional secret how to manage your ego? Because we all get it when we feel that
Yeah, we all have our ego. I must say, I had a much bigger ego at the time than now. Definitely, age has definitely calmed me down, and I think the COVID crisis as well. Yeah, maybe at the time I was a little bit more belligerent, argumentative, pushing myself forward. I was a bit more eager to crush a competitor on my path. So I was a little bit more, I would say, reckless in my way of moving forward professionally, which I'm no more now.
And how to manage it?
You mean now? Oh, now, to be honest, I mean, my priorities have changed so much. Of course, I love working on different projects. I can be quite shrewd, but I think life experiences bring you other things as well. You know, you think about friends that you've lost, family members that you've lost, or some crisis that you went through. And I've learned to sometimes become a spectator in life, and that brings your ego much to its place.
Age of 36, your Mercury, planet of communication and trade, in retro movement. That means that maybe some occasions, events, or people again come back to your life. Does it relate?
Yes, because I opened my company, I was 35, and I had to get back into my old network at the time. So during the first 2 years, I mean, a lot of people that I had known in the past that you were talking about losing touch for some time came back into the equation. So definitely, because I was doing a lot of networking then, trying to push the company forward.
43 Venus in Capricorn, and it's very pedantic attitude to finances. What do you love to spend money for? Let's change for something interesting.
I love spending on travel. I'm a big art collector, so I spend a lot on art, on oil paintings, on sculptures. I love reading. I spend a lot on books, and I love antiques as well. So that's where I spend the most money, I would say. Sometimes I would hate an artist, what he does, but I would see one thing that he's done that I love, and the rest I wouldn't like at all. So I couldn't say that I've got one that I've got quite a few. And also, I don't collect art that's only from Europe. Through my travels, I've collected artists from Africa, from Asia.
If you could open one talent, any kind of talent for you, what is what is the one you would choose?
I think I'm a reasonably good writer as well. Yeah. I'm quite good at organizing events, at putting people together as well. So those are things maybe where
Element, what is the talent that you didn't have but you would love to bring
oh,
to life?
I love art and paintings, but I'm terrible at doing painting. I mean, I've tried and I'm derelict. It's horrible what I do.
Could you tell me, please, 47, maybe Venus in opposition with Saturn could cause some kind of disappointment. What makes you happy?
I'm happy when people are happy around me. And when I'm surrounded by positive people and by happy people, I tend to be happy as well. So, and I'm quite ashamed sometimes to say that, but I've reached a point in life, unless it's my very close friends and family, when I see people that are extremely negative, I tend to get away from them because I think that it can affect my level of happiness.
What you could say to the audience of Chile Live channel and followers of Stars About Stars project?
About happiness, I think happiness can be in so many things. I mean, I'm happy in the morning at the moment when I wake up and I see that lovely beach and water in front of me and I go for a swim. I feel so happy because we are in a lockdown worldwide and I've got that chance. I'm happy when I find an old book that I haven't read, that I bought that I never read. I'm happy when I see my family coming for lunch because everyone is contented and happy to see one another. There are so many different kinds. I'm happy often when, at the moment, because I haven't been to Europe, after 3 months, I've got a friend who just WhatsApp me and who wants to have a WhatsApp call. For me, at the moment, this is happiness.
Thierry, I would love to thank you again for your time, for your energy, for your sincere sharing with us. And from my side, I always say that I sent a brief short version of the horoscope on the base of which I have created my special questions for you. I hope they were interesting and
I loved
unexpected.
it. You're an excellent interviewer. You're the new Oprah Winfrey.
Yes, this I need to put double time in my
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's my dream to speak to this fantastic woman. I watch her a lot. I admire her talent, and it's not a compliment, it's true. From my side, I would love to mention as well that your birthstone mineral is aquamarine. That is stone of travelers. So I wish you a lot of traveling inside yourself. I wish you a lot of traveling with no restriction all over the world. And I wish prosperity to your soul, to your heart, to your mind, and to your travel company, and to your fantastic author writing. I hope we will see more and more about your books. And we have last request that we decided to keep in secret. Who will be your path to SAS? Who will be your invited guest? We decided that we keep it in secret and we discuss it, we chat on that. True?
Okay, super, great.
Okay, thank you so much. Say hello to Mauritius. Thank you again for your time, for your energy, and thank you from myself, from Chile Live channel, and from Stars About Stars project.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.